Hey everyone, Mr. Newman here, and today we're going to learn about standard form link sheets. We've already done link sheets with slope-intercept form, so this is just the same idea but with standard form. First of all, by way of reminder, we have standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. We get that whenever we get some total in a problem, and we have two different quantities that are adding up to that total, and there might be a rate on each of those. So like a cost and a number of items plus a cost and a number of items equals a total, and we don't know how many items there are of either kind. So let's go ahead and get started. Your school sells adult and student tickets to a school play. Adult tickets cost $20 and student tickets cost $4. The total value of all the tickets sold is $7,000. So adult tickets are $20 and student tickets are $4. That's going to be the basis of our equation. We know it's equal to a total of 7,000. So 20x plus 4y equals 7,000 is the equation. Now a few things about this. So what does x and y represent? Well, x must be the number of adult tickets. It's not the cost of the adult tickets because we already know that. X represents something we don't know yet. Likewise, y must represent the number of student tickets, not the cost of the student tickets. We already know that too. So notice in the equation we have the cost and then the amount, or the number of tickets. The cost and then the amount. So those are separate ideas in the equation, but they're multiplied by each other. So the cost times the number of tickets is how much money you make from all the student tickets, and the cost times the number of tickets is how much you make from all the adult tickets. And those two have to add up to be 7,000. Now, in order to graph this, what we need is we need the headers. So this is why we asked what x and y represent, so we can fill out the headers, number of adult tickets and number of student tickets. And if you remember, the easiest way to graph standard form is to plug in a 0 for x and find the y value, and then plug in a 0 for y and find the x value. And that'll give us 2 points, and then we can just connect the dots. So let's plug in 0 for x here. 20x, so 20 times 0, plus 4y equals 7,000. Well, 20 times 0 is 0, so we get 4y is 7,000. If you divide both sides by 4, you get 1,750, which will go in our first row. So when you have 0 adult tickets, you would have 1,750 student tickets. Let's do the same thing, but this time plug in 0 for y and figure out what x is. So you get 0, 4 times 0 is 0. 20 times x equals 7,000. Divide both sides by 20, and you get 350. So when there are no student tickets sold, it would be 350 adult tickets sold. For your scale, on these standard form problems, you want to start at 0, and then you just want to pick a number, preferably a multiple of 20, because we have 20 boxes here, or however many boxes you have, that's larger than, for the x, larger than 350. So I picture 400 to be the nice, even number, and the reason I picked 400 is because I can divide it in half easily. That's halfway is 200, and I can divide that in half easily too, 100 and 300. And now 350 fits on the scale, but it's closer to the end, which is what I want, because I don't want my graph to be too small. Also, for the student tickets, if we go up to 1,750, I'm going to pick 2,000. Oops, sorry, make sure you label. I'm going to pick 2,000 as the maximum there. I know half of 2,000 is 1,000, and half of that is 500. And halfway between 1,000 and 2,000 is 1,500. So I can plot those points somewhat easily. I know that 1,750 is halfway between 1,500 and 2,000. So if I label a number of student tickets, I can plot that point right there. It doesn't fall in a nice even line, but I know it's halfway between, so it'll be halfway between those two. Also, for number of student tickets, 350 falls halfway between 300 and 400. Again, it won't fall in a nice line, but it does fall exactly halfway between them, so I can estimate and place that there. Now that I have the 2 points, let's just connect the dots. And there's my graph. We also need to answer the question. So Joey guesses that 214 adult tickets were sold. If that's true, how many student tickets were sold? 214 is the number of adult tickets, so that is X. So I'm going to write that in the X part of X column in my table, and I'm going to plug it into the equation we have. So let's come down here. So 220 times 214 plus 4y equals 7,000. Well, 220 times 214 is 4,280. And now I'm just solving for y. Subtract that from both sides. Divide by 4. And you get y must be 680, which means, whoops, there must be 680 student tickets sold. All right, let's move on to the next situation on the back. A movie theater sells tickets to a new show for $10 each. The theater also sells boxes of popcorn for $2.50 each. The theater needs to make $300 in order to break even on the show. Well, that must be the total, the 300. And we have 10 and 250, so 10x plus 250y equals 300. X must be the number of tickets, because $10 is how much each ticket costs. And y must be the number of boxes of popcorn, or small containers of popcorn, because they're $2.50 each. I'm going to put those number of tickets and boxes of popcorn as my headers. Let's do the 0 and 0 trick. So we plug in 0 for x, solve for y, and we get 120. Plug in 0 for y, or probably 0 for, Sorry, I had that mixed up. That should be solve for x. We plugged in 0 for y, so solve for x, and x is 30. Now, when we're graphing this, I want to pick nice even numbers again. So I'm going to go from 0 to 40 for x, because I know I need to hit 30. And 40 is a number I can divide by twice easily. So we get 20 is the halfway mark, and half of that is 10, and halfway between 20 and 40 is 30. So that's my number of tickets. That's the x value. Then for boxes of popcorn, I know I have to go all the way up to 120. So I'm just going to go clear up to 200, which is fine. 100 is halfway between 0 and 200, and 50 and 150 are the numbers halfway between those. So if we graph this, that's the boxes of popcorn. 120 would be right there, because each of those marks is 10. And then 30 is already marked down there. So we draw the line between them, and we have to answer this question. The movie theater ends up selling 20 popcorns, or 20 boxes of popcorn. How many tickets were sold? Well, boxes of popcorn is y, so we're solving for x here. And oops, I did it again. X, there we go. Make sure you say x, and we're solving for x here. So that must be x. And we solve x equals 25. So we must have sold 25 tickets if we sold 20 boxes of popcorn. You could even see this on the graph, as it's that point right down there that I just marked. Thank you all for watching.